We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thanks for joining us. We had a work-study session. We heard from Expect More Arizona, and the board proceeded into an override discussion. We'll call this meeting to order. Dr. Thomason, roll call.
President Whitener, please let the record show that all 4 board members are here and present tonight.
Okay, we will have our moment of silence and proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'll go ahead and move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 5.0, we have a request to speak to the governing board. We have an opportunity for our constituents to give input. Mrs. Walker, do we have any requests tonight? Thank you very much. 6.0 is our superintendent's report. We are always excited for this point in the meeting. We have some awards and recognitions and presentations tonight. Whoever would like to go ahead and start with those. What we'd like to do is group whether that schools together and then have the board take the picture with the group. Okay, who wants to go first?
President Whitener, I'd like to invite Liz Wolf and Dan Culver to the podium to recognize some special students.
Good evening. Testing. Can you hear me? This one? All right, we'll use this one this evening. So, good evening, President Whitener, members of our board and our cabinet and audience here this evening. My name is Miss Wolf, and I am the principal here at Chaparral Elementary School, one of our K-6 schools in the Higley Unified School District. And I have the honor this evening of talking a little bit about a situation that happened for us this summer. It was very special because we got a phone call and an email from a student who used to be a student at Chaparral, and this person is currently at Higley High School. And it is a family that I know and love. They still have current students at our school. And essentially we have a student in high school named Jacob Fleming who went through Chaparral and was getting, or not getting, but finalizing his Eagle Scout project. And Jacob asked if there were any large projects at the school that we might be able to work on, and we did. Our school, in some of the hallways, in our 5th and 6th, and with our ADAPTS program, our self-contained autistic classrooms, had not been painted in about 7 years. So they were definitely on the rotation to be painted. I thought it was a large project, but when I mentioned this to Jacob and his family, they were all over that, and they said, absolutely not. We will rally our community. We have lots of other students who used to go to Chaparral prior to even me being there. And one Saturday, we probably had, I would say, close to 30 people on that campus. They painted an entire wing of our school, so that ended up impacting probably 300 students. And they did a beautiful job. And I'd like to present a certificate this evening to Jacob Fleming, and his mom and sisters and siblings are here this evening to say thank you so much from Chaparral. There was also a special note in the Tribune about Jacob and doing such a wonderful job, and really remembering to give back to his community, giving back to the people that had served him. So we're very proud of Jacob, and we're very grateful for his service and his family's service. Come on up here, Jacob.
And I am Mr. Dan Cover. I'm the principal of Cortina Elementary School, and I have the pleasure also of having an Eagle Scout story to tell you guys tonight. I was contacted by Mr. Monroe at the time and asked if I would be interested in having a project on my campus, and I said absolutely. Let me come up with some ideas for our Eagle Scout, Mr. Wesley Atkin, and he came by and he got to look at some of those projects I had, and he chose the most difficult one that I had. So I appreciate all the work that he put into it, his mother and his father as well, putting in a lot of extra work. They actually came and painted all of our curbs in the front of our school and all of the arrows as well in the front of the school. They brought a crew of about 50 kiddos and parents and community members, and even grandma was there. So it was a great family event. It was wonderful to see them all to come together, and Wesley did a fantastic job of planning and getting all those people together and organizing all of the resources that he needed. So it was definitely worthy of his Eagle Scout project. So without further ado, Wesley, can you please come on up?
Next, I'd like to welcome to the podium the Sossaman Middle School administrative team.
I'm going to be brief and quick. I know that surprises all of you. President Whitener, members of the board, cabinet, Dr. Thomason, it is my extreme honor to really recognize 4 amazing people today from our campus. First, I'd like to recognize our teacher of the month, Donna Corsaro. Come on up, Donna. I have had the pleasure of knowing this. I've had the pleasure of knowing this amazing woman for over 7 years, with working with her at Cortina, now working with her at Sossaman, and I know some of our members of the board have kids in her classroom that I'm sure they talk about her all the time. But she truly exemplifies our passion, purpose, and perseverance with everything she does in the classroom, everything she does for our kids outside of the classroom. You walk into her classroom, you can just truly feel that passion. And I know I'm going to say it wrong. Just remember, English is my second language. So I think my most favorite time is when I walked into her classroom and she was rapping to Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby, singing, to help me out, Onomatopoeia. And she had her hat backwards. She had this big old thick necklace. She had her Brooklyn accent going. It was truly just a fabulous sight. The kids were literally sitting on the edge of their seats. And I know some of you guys that have seniors now that have gone through Donna's class still remember that song to this day. So thank you, Donna, for all that you do for Sossaman, for our students, with our staff, and just truly making Sossaman just a wonderful place. All right. Next, I would like to introduce one of our support staff members, Christy Johnson, who, again, I've also known. We call Christy our Director of First Impressions. As soon as you walk into Sossaman, this amazing lady and this fabulous smile is the first thing that you will encounter. And she, again, truly exemplifies when we talk about Spartan Strong and what that means on our campus and what that looks like. And she truly makes everyone feel like they are a part of our family as soon as they walk in. It helps enroll our kiddos. She helps our families with tours. She truly does it all. And I just want to say thank you. And next, I would like to announce Maria Huth, who's our volunteer of the month. Maria has been here with us as part of our PTSO from truly the very, very beginning. And she's always the quiet one, just flies under the radar, so this is a big deal right now for her. She hates being the center of attention, so thank you. But she truly helped Sossaman build our PTSO, build our volunteer from the ground up. We became a 501(c) with her work and all of the fundraising. She handles all of our fundraising events, all of our restaurant nights. She truly has helped us grow as a school, and I just want to say thank you. And last, we have an amazing gentleman that is now one of our 7th graders. I'd like to bring up Maxwell Basta. Come on up, Max. Again, I have known this gentleman since he was at 1st grade at Cortina, and his smile just truly, truly brightens a room. And when he came on board, he became one of our student council members. And he is literally the first one on our campus helping with events and the last one to go home. I don't think his family ever really sees him when he's at school. And he always, whatever he can do, he comes up with a smile, just really wants to help out. And I think one of the best stories that I have is on the 2nd day of school, we had a brand new student on our campus who was just kind of sitting on the side at a table by himself. And Max brought him over to his table, and now that student is with him every day at lunch and has just made this whole new group of friends who have known each other for a long time, and they just all included him in. And I just want to say thank you, Max, for really, truly exemplifying our Spartan Strong theme. Is that quick? Under 3 minutes? I tried.
Next, from our IT department, I would like to welcome Chuck Kelly to the podium.
I'm Chuck Kelly. I'm the IT director for the district here, and I am not a public speaker, as you will very soon learn. If I could email this to every single one of you and spare myself this agony, I would, but I'm going to read from it here. Representing the IT department this evening, it is my privilege to present the Points of Pride Employee of the Month Award to Scott Washburn. Scott is the on-site technician at Williamsfield High School, though I'm sure you've all seen him in the closet at a board meeting or two. Scott is always jumping in wherever there's a need. He is very often the first to volunteer for special assignments, like working late into the night at this year's Teacher of the Award ceremony, and he frequently stays late to support after-school events as well. Scott's customer service is unsurpassed. We have recently heard from several teachers, along with their principal and vice principal, about his exceptional follow-through on tasks, keeping his customers advised on the status of those issues that may take a little longer than usual to resolve. Scott has an exceptional understanding of the classroom technologies and a great eagerness to learn more of the advanced technologies available in the district, and we look forward to seeing what he does in the future. Congratulations, Scott, and thanks for all you do.
President Whitener, members of the board, Dr. Thomason, and cabinet, just like to take a moment to recognize Mr. Josh Crosby. Would you come forward? This summer, Higley Unified School District's Director of Transportation, Josh Crosby, was recognized as the 2015 Student Transportation Professional of the Year. That's by the Transportation Administrators of Arizona. Higley Superintendent Dr. Thomason had the following to say about Josh. Mr. Crosby is always a professional. He consistently works hard to assure our students are transported to and from their homes safely. He is tireless in his efforts to make his department most efficient. Mr. Crosby joined Higley Transportation Department in 2000 and was named the director in 2004. The district runs 52 buses daily with more than 5,600 eligible riders. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Josh Crosby, Student Transportation Professional of the Year.
Next, I would like to welcome up Dr. Anna McCauley.
I'd like to thank you all. No, I'm kidding. President Whitener, members of the board, cabinet, we would like to honor tonight our school registrars. So in the spring, we found out we were going to have an ADM audit. And an ADM audit is a big deal. It usually takes about 3 months, and you usually end up owing the state a lot of money afterward. And they audit 3 years worth of enrollments and attendance. Well, they came to us, and the day after our first engagement meeting at 10:30 a.m., they told us we were done. And then they came back a week later, 2 weeks later, and gave us our findings, which were none. We were off by 0.05 of an average daily membership in the 3 years of 33,000 enrollments and hundreds of thousands of attendance. So we would like to bring the registrars all up together so they can get their picture as a team with the big team, our governing board. So, and I just want to read you their names. We have Yvette Chapa from Centennial, Jennifer Guzman from Chaparral, Yolanda Duarte from Coronado, Carrie Bybee, Cortina, Marjorie Scott, Higley High, Angie Gomans, Williamsfield, Stephanie Kennedy, Cortina and Sossaman Preschool, Kelly Brunsack from Cooley Middle School, Mona Schuyler, Cooley Preschool, Aaron Lewis, Power Ranch, and we forgot one, Rebecca Rodriguez, who is now in the classroom, was at Santan, and then she was with us last year, and I lost her to Terry. So, but I did tell her to take good care of my friend Terry over there. So, without further ado, these great ladies really saved the district from having to pay money like all of our neighbors have.
What a feat that is, that really never really happened. That really never happened. And this was published right away. You know it's published. Mm-hmm. It's published, and the state is well aware of it. And being here for quite a few years, we have mistakes, and you didn't want hundreds of Thank you very much for those. It's nice to see. We love those moments, and there are so many people working so hard and doing their jobs the best they can. We will move forward with our meeting. If you'd like to excuse yourself, looks like our employees know that's standard routine here. Thank you. Dr. Thomason, would you like to go over upcoming events?
Yes, President Whitener, we do have upcoming events on Thursday and Friday of this week. We do have the ASBA Law Conference at Camelback Inn in Scottsdale. And then we have our next board meeting and work study on Wednesday, September 23rd. And then fall break shortly after that. So the fall break is coming up September 28th to October 9th. And that would be the next month's worth of events.
Thank you. Is there any board comments tonight?
Sure. Just like to say we visited Cooley Middle School today. What a wonderful time that we had. Dr. Whitner, she went with me as well, and just please thank the staff and for what a great time we had. Thank you.
I wanted to thank the board members for the tag team last weekend at all of the school events. That was a fun night, and I appreciate everyone who took the time to try to hit as many as we can. I think we all made all of them except maybe bingo, but we got your pictures. But we thank you and our principals and working with your PTOs and putting on some fun community events. We appreciate that.
Sure. I'd like to publicly thank Mr. Little for taking my challenge on the dunk tank. He did very well in there, so thank you.
I think you were the dunk tank champ, though.
Okay, thank you.
All right. 7.0, we have consent agenda items. I will go ahead and move that we approve 7.1 through 7.5.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 8.0, there's no old business at this time. 9.0, we have some action information items. 9.1 is our monthly information item, monthly financial report. If there are any questions on that, you can direct those to Ms. Deuce at this time. Seeing none. Thank you. 9.2 information item. We have an AZ merit update. That is Arizona's new standard measurement for academics. Dr. Nance.
President Whitener, members of the board. In a second, we'll have our PowerPoint up here. Dr. McCauley and I are going to tag team this and talk a little bit about something that you heard first in the other room during the work study, and that's the release of the AZ merit results. Coming very soon, as you heard, we will be seeing those results after fall break. We'll try to make this work. It is on. There we go. I'm going to start and end with the same quote here this evening. It's not about what students can do now. It's about what they should be able to do. And that just explains what the AZ Merit Test does for us. It moves us to another level. It raises the bar. We have higher expectations, and we'll continue to work towards those. A little refresher. The AZ Merit Test is unique to Arizona. It's not a test given in any other state. It was based on the Arizona standards and the Arizona test blueprint. Many of the items, because of such a short time frame last spring, were drawn from a Utah item bank. Arizona educators reviewed each of these and decided which test items would be included on the test. The test covers reading, writing, and math, but we still give the AIMS science test. There's not an AZ Merit science test at this time. Across the state, about 40% of the schools did their testing online. About 60% did paper pencil. And if you remember, Higley successfully did all of our testing online, and we're very happy that we did that.
Dr. Nance, is the AIMS science going to be released with AZ Merit, or the science?
Publicly, it hasn't been released yet.
We don't have it yet.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to ask Dr. McCauley to talk just a little bit about the timeline. You heard some of these dates in the work study, but we'll highlight them once again very quickly for you.
And these dates are mostly tentative, so there's going to be a reporting guide that should be out sometime this month. And then actually I saw the parent guide is already available. Then our district, school, and teacher level results, they say should be available in the online system for district and school level people on October 6th. And then actually it's only available to me, and then I'll get it out to everybody else. But the family reports won't be delivered until about October 20th. And they'll be delivered to the district office, and they'll be paper copies. And they'll also have the family report guide in both English and Spanish. Then we'll go ahead and coordinate how we're going to distribute those to the families as soon as we have that date settled on and we know they're really coming. And then the public release is slated sometime in November. And so the state will put up all the aggregate results by district and by school as they did with Ames sometime then. And I'm going to hand it back over to Dr. Nance to talk about Move On When Reading.
Thanks, Anna. Another component to this is the Move On When Reading law, which, if you remember, says that third graders have to be at a certain level of proficiency in reading in order to be promoted to fourth grade. This law was suspended for 1 year because we did not have the results last spring prior to school being out, and those decisions could not be made. We still don't have the results. And so school started and students had to move on. So there was a free pass for 1 year for last year's third graders, but it goes back into effect this year with next spring's testing because they're telling us the results are going to be back before the end of the school year. It's a little more difficult to explain this year which students fall into that category. Last year it was the students who were in the falls far below category on the Ames test. And that equated about 3% of the students in the state of Arizona. It was much, much less for Higley. In fact, we have not had a student fall into the category and need to be retained at all, ever. We've had some students in that category, but they were exempted either because they were special education students or second language learners. And so we've never had a student in that category. This year, we cannot say that the students in the lowest category are those students who would be retained because the state is projecting that perhaps 40% of the third graders in Arizona will be in that category. There's no way they're going to retain 40% of the students. And so what they're telling us right now is because it was 3% in that category in the past, they are going to look at what it would be the bottom 3% of scores this year as well. So it's certainly not the full lowest category, if that makes sense. We have letters ready to go out to parents at conferences in our elementary schools. Those falling far below will get that letter. Those students who are currently in fourth grade who may have a score that they receive in that category, we will make sure they receive the interventions necessary, but they will remain in fourth grade. The performance levels on the new AZ Merit Assessment, again, there are still 4. Minimally proficient is our lowest category, partially proficient, proficient, and highly proficient. So those are the new terms that we'll be using. It's no longer meets the standards, exceeds the standards, and so on. These are your new terms. A group of Arizona teachers met and set the cut points for each of these about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And so we didn't know what those scores for the cut points were until very, very recently. One of the very, very nice things the state has done for us lately is develop what they call performance level descriptors. And this is a little hard to see, but what it does is take every standard on the exam, every standard that's taught in English language arts and math and that are tested, and puts them into the 4 categories. There's a descriptor for a student to be highly proficient. It explains what they have to do for that standard to fall into that category. This is very helpful for teachers as they plan instruction and look at how students perform across the year. These links are all on the Arizona Department of Ed website, and we'll be linking them to our website here very, very soon as well. So it's a great resource for parents and teachers. We expect lower passing rates, as you will see across the state in Arizona. I'm going to ask Dr. McCauley to talk a little bit about why that may be.
Right. So remember, they did this quasi-incremental implementation of the new standards, and so they started with the kindergarten, and then the next year we added first grade. Then the next year we added everybody. And so some students in the upper grades, you'll see, if you even look at what their projections are, you'll see as the grades get higher, the projected percent of students meeting the college and career readiness standards goes down. So those kids have had less Common Core to that date, per se, that they're being measured on. So that explains that. Also, the item formats are different. Kids are expected to do a lot of highlighting, there's hot text and dragging and dropping. So it's a different kind of test that they're not used to. It's not just picking A, B, C, or D anymore. So,
Dr. McCauley, are the
Yes.
cut scores the same whether for its paper or computer test?
yes, actually they had a really high correlation between the paper and computer versions. It was a 95% confidence interval, so it was great, that's what you want. So, yeah, they were 95% matched. And one of the grade levels was like 99% matched. So we do expect the passing rates to decline because the expectations are higher. Again, I want to stress the last time I talked to you about this, that it's not going to mean if our scores drop that anybody has failed. It's that they've raised the standards. And you'll see, for example, you've all heard the NAEP studies, and where they say, a quarter of the students are reading at proficient and the rest are not, and then they would compare that to Ames, where 80% were reading at what was meeting on fourth grade Ames. But really, if you look at the chart on the, right here, the reading fourth grade, you notice the basic is in the blue and proficient is in the red, and it's a lower proportion. It's just a third of the students, basically. So go to the next slide, because this
Can I
is
just
where
add to
it
this,
goes down.
Anna?
Yeah, go ahead.
As you look at this slide,
Yep.
I don't know how I went to the next one.
You trying to go back?
I'm trying to go, there we go. The blue is Ames, when you think about it. Ames is a basic skills test. The standards and the expectations are much lower. That means a lot more students did very, very well on that. The NAEP test, which is a national test, is a proficiency test. It measures actual proficiency. The new AZ Merit test is a proficiency test. And what you're going to see is a pretty close alignment between NAEP and the AZ Merit test. We have raised the standards. We are now looking at proficiency, not just basic skills. And so this will give you a good indication. So Anna, you want to talk about these?
Sure. So if you see there, here are the projected AZ Merit scores alongside the 2014 Ames passing rates. And if you look at, they almost mirror exactly the NAEP basic and proficiency. So now annually, when those NAEP reports come back out and they're saying this is what percentage, now we have alignment with what our state test is. So our state test is going to be saying very much the same thing as those NAEP results. So I think that's a good thing for policy decisions that will need to be made, because when you don't have the truth and you fudge the data, and I know that happened many, many years ago.
Or still, we
Right.
have people in leadership using the NAEP test saying we are misspending money because our NAEP scores are so low. They're not saying we're efficiently providing to the state test and we are meeting and exceeding the state test. They're using the NAEP to defute or refute any source of new funding.
Well, All I know is that by lowering the bar and falsely inflating these proficiency rates, we've really kind of fostered complacency, because you don't know you can do better when you think you're already doing well. So that's just my personal belief. I think it's a good thing. Raise the bar. Let us get all those kids there, because we actually have a great group of educators in this district who all believe that kids can learn and grow to levels nobody ever expected before. And so.
All right, well, people are going to look at this and think this might not be a really good thing when their student scores come home. You're going to have students who have been meeting the standard for many, many years all of a sudden be labeled as partially proficient or minimally proficient. And we need to help explain that. Student skills have not changed, but it might seem that way to parents. We've raised the expectations. We are now looking at proficiency versus basic skills. One of the things that's going to be sent home with the student's report is this family report guide, and it's a little hard to see up here, but there will be a pretty good explanation of each of the areas of the student report that will be coming home. On the next page, I guess, thank you for flipping those for me back there. On the next page, you can actually see a sample of a student report. They call this chart a barrel chart down here at the bottom, and you can see the different cutoff scores for the proficiency levels. This student, Maria, you can see where she fell. It says Maria's score is highly proficient based on that. This is the math section of her score. You will also see on a reading section of the score, it will give you the same kind of information. On the next page, a little more detailed explanation of the math scores, and then again on the page after that, more detail on the English language arts scores. All of our students will be receiving these. As soon as we get them, we will be getting them out to families. Let me talk a little bit about our district challenge ahead of us. We have to work with our teachers, our administrators, to first make sure they all understand what this means, how the reports can be read, and in turn then help our parents understand how to interpret all this data. We have to frame it as a new hire challenge to be met and help everybody understand that this is a brand new test. This is a baseline year that we work from in the future. And then we have to make sure that our schools improve their performance over the next few years, and that you're going to see the charts, the bars on those charts go up. So how are we going to do that? I have Dr. McCauley and Michelle Reese working right now on a web page that will be connected directly to ours, which has all of the information you've seen tonight. It will include a number of links to the Arizona Department of Education website. And as you heard from Expect More Arizona, that organization and others like the National PTA, the state-affiliated branch of that, there are other groups out there that are providing very meaningful pieces of information. And we will make sure that we've included that and connected those to our website. And Michelle's telling me that in about a week, we should have that up and ready to go. Finally, to talk a little bit about the accountability piece, this is the letter grades that we're used to schools having, the A's, B's, C's, and so on. The state has just received a waiver from the federal government for a one-year extension, which means that for this school year, there will not be letter grades for schools. So we're not going to have A schools, B schools, and so on. There is some discussion about using the federal Title I categories for all schools. It's a little confusing because if you're a very, very high-scoring school, you'll get a label. If you're a very, very low-scoring school, you get a label, but nobody in between gets a label. And so I'm not sure how we'll fall out with that, but that's kind of information yet to come. But I do want to say there will not be letter grades. The state is also saying they will not be rank ordering districts. However, as soon as they put a number next to your district name, anybody can rank order districts and schools. So we'll see what the media does with that. And then finally, the information keeps coming. We're fortunate that Dr. McCauley is part of the state's Accountability Advisory Group, and she's going to come back after September 15th with a lot more information for us. And if it's important, we'll bring it to you and let you know what else is in the works for changes. And I want to end again with the quote, it's not about what students can do now, it's about what they should be able to do, and our job is to get them there. So we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I want to say thank you. It was a little bit more thorough than what we heard last Monday, and directly more specific to our district. We heard a presentation from the state board, but you guys had a little bit more, a better perspective and a little bit more,
And
better.
Mrs. Whiter, I just want to say that we're very confident that, yes, our overall passing rate will be lower than it has been in the past, but I think if you look at Higley and you look at all of the other districts that we consider to be our competitors, we will do very well.
Right. Thank you. We appreciate that. And those who have been here, we know it's the same way it was with Ames when it first came out. So hopefully we can help spread that message and inform our community. 10.0, any future agenda items at this time? 11.0, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.